How's it going, everybody? So I really want to be able to. I'm trying to do a lot of file transfer right now, so I can't really use my good setup or computer or anything like that right now. So, um, I'll still go for it. I'm using my little potato camera that's for the laptop. Thank God I still have a spare one to use. But I wanted to comment on this episode part one of episode 7, Terrace House, and it's called Boys and Girls in the City. So I'm not sure where they are, but they might be around the Tokyo area, I'm thinking. And so they have this lady, and I'm always forgetting like the names of them, but this girl, she's like she's like a student trying to be a doctor, and there's this guy, he's a hairstylist. So the scenario is that he asked two girls both on a date. He doesn't have a problem with it because they're not really like dating. So he's not really hurling over anybody's boundaries. So he asked them out on a date, and one of the ladies is a barista, and the other lady is a student for medical to be a doctor. So she's a medical student. So she felt some type of way. And the funny thing is, there's another guy who's a tap dancer. I've made this video before, similar, but it involved a tap dancer, and I was like, well, he was a little critical on the lady who was a barista because he said her ambitions weren't clear enough when she was talking about she wanted to eventually make a bar and try to essentially have a good business of a bar, because what are bars for? They're for people coming together, people enjoying drinks, like Starbucks. You're there, you like to spend time and stuff like that. And then he has I guess he had a more focused and narrow career, and he just didn't find her ambitions to be accurate and clear enough like his, because he's won like awards and stuff like that. And I just found it to be a little, because he's the oldest of all of them, so he seems to have taken upon himself to have this leadership role. And I found it to be kind of strange because who asked him. So I had to ask him that, so why does he have to presume himself to be the leader, even though he's older? Like, I get it, you're older, you do want the younger people to proceed better, but you know it's three people, it's three boys, three girls. It's not really up to you to kind of be one dude and lead everybody. It's too much work, and it's good to make ambitions and goals, but unless people are kind of expressing that need, I think it's a little forward, a little pushy for him to assume that role and decide for them of what they should do, and decide, or rather encourage ambitions that aren't necessarily their own. And so just there's a guy in there. So okay, you have the medical student, the female, the barista female, the last female, I'm forgetting what she does. I forget. It's gonna come to me. But you have the guy who's a tap dancer. There's a guy who's a baseball player, and there's a guy who's a hairstylist. Okay, so we're gonna go to the baseball player. So when the tap dancer guy was telling the barista female that her goals weren't clear enough, the baseball guy was there because they all six of them were there, and he didn't say anything. But he talked to the guys because they all they bunk in their own room, and the females bunk in their own room. And so he said for him, he had this thing where he was in the league, and he stopped going, and for 2 years he just lived a very frivolous lifestyle, just hung out, just played around, tricked off a little bit, just partied and all that. And then he was ready to go back because it made him think, okay, I want to do this again. So he came to his coach, and his coach allowed him back in, but he had to go to the like the bottom rank again. So he had to work his way up. So now that I think they're in fourth year or something like that, and he is not where he wants to be, and so the rest of his teammates are at a high level rank. He is still kind of like swimming his way through, and so he wanted to talk to the barista lady to let her know that I should have said something because my goals aren't as clear, and my goals are not as defined and stuff like that. And so what he did was he went to the woman's bedroom and he told her, and he just wanted her to know, hey, I'm sorry, and I should have supported you. Now, from what I'm understanding, the Japanese culture, even this, it's almost like very, very, very sensitive. Almost, it's a conservative culture and it's a very sensitive culture. So like small gestures mean a lot, and at least that's the impression I'm getting. And so when he said that, he was just being a good person. He was just being like, considerate of her feelings and stuff like that. And like that's just a generally good person. But I'm speaking from an American's point of view, a Westerners point of view. And yes, it's nice to know, but like, from an American point of view, you need to make your intentions a lot more known. Caring about people is just kind of like a baseline level. But in the Japanese area, it might just mean a lot more. So, I feel like I'm missing something. So the hairstylist guy, I guess this current episode of episode 7 is the hairstylist. He invited 2 girls. One of them, I think he just invited her out just like a fun time, something like that, and he enjoyed himself. The lady who was the nursing student, he found himself not to be very tense, not to be as relaxed. And so he told the dudes, and somehow the word got out to the females. And so that worried her. They made her feel like some type of way. But let me tell you about the story about what happened. So this hairstylist dude who asked both the girls out, and after he had the first date with the one girl, the barista girl, he had a date with the medical student. Now the thing is, she likes aquariums. They were gonna take her. He was gonna take her to an aquarium. But note, let's keep this noted. There's a tap dancer. He was planning to take her to an aquarium too, and prior to all this, he told the dudes that he was gonna go do it, and the hairstylist just flat out just, hey, I'm finna just ask these 2 females, finna take them out. And so they both know she likes to go to an aquarium, so they both take her to different aquariums. I don't think he has taken the tap dancing dude's taken her out, and he's very fond of this lady who's a medical student. And one thing going back to the task at hand in episode 7. So they figured out, okay, he had 2 dates. One of them he liked. One was very comfortable and he enjoyed himself. The other one, not so much. And he felt very tense, very awkward, very nervous. And the med student female, again, a lot of names, I'm just gonna have to remember them when I get to the chance. She felt some type of way because he wasn't very comfortable. Now, she didn't when the hairstylist guy and the I'm so sorry. I'm just, they're bad titles. The hairstylist guy and the med student female, they go to this place, but the aquarium's closed. So she really wanted to go because she really loves aquariums, but and he's not really able to do anything else. He can't take her out, and they have a I guess they go out to eat. She's like, but I really want to go to the aquarium, and maybe that kind of affect them like minorly. But then he felt at the end of that date, because it was a little awkward, they didn't go where they needed to go, and they didn't go anywhere else. They just went out to eat. And so she felt like some type of way because he was trying to impress her, said, wow, you're so beautiful and stuff like that. But he noticed himself as he was talking to the dudes, like, I wasn't very comfortable. It was real tense, and then she, as I'm watching now, she's feeling some type of way. So she's like trying to confront. She's gonna confront him on like, word got out that you were a little tense. What was up with that? And my thing is, she seems like a sheltered person, pretty sheltered, even for Japanese standards. And we seen a date of theirs with the tap dancer dude, and they seem to get along a lot better. Even though he low key took shots at the barista girl's ambitions, she still gathered something from there because she's always known herself to be a medical student, and her friends were just medical students. And when the tap dancing guy told her about it, hey, what's your goals and your ambitions? It kind of made her challenge herself a little bit. So she was a little more fond of him because I think he had a connection with her. She had a connection with him because it made her think about her future a bit more. And she was like, low-key, I'm kind of glad you asked that, But yeah, I'm at the point now where she's confronting this guy. I don't want to ruin their names. I was gonna go for it, but I didn't want to do it. So she's gonna confront the hairstylist dude about why. Now, yeah, I'll talk about like my thoughts on the show in a later section, but yeah, it's real interesting. I really feel like she's sheltered. I really feel like the fact that she got really bothered, it could be a Japanese thing, but I just feel like she's very sheltered, and her concerns about this dude, about him being so tense. Don't they say kuki yomenai? You can't read the room, or kuki yomimasu. Wait. Yomimasu. Something like that. To read the room, and I feel like for introverted people and people who are empaths, they're very good at reading the room, They don't have to... They have to figure out if there's any threat assessment and see if the room is good, see if the environment is good and safe for them to be safe, or figure out what's the room looking like. And I feel like it was so weird to me a little bit. Maybe it's not. It is a general characteristic for people to read the room, but I think it's especially important in Japanese culture because, it's conservative already. So if you don't read the room properly, they're not going to really tell you anything. They'll just tell you behind your back because they're not, confrontation is just a bit too much for them. So, but in this show, there's a whole lot of confrontation. There's a whole lot of talking up front, and I'm a little shocked because it's like it's way too much confrontation. Now, of course, they're not like fighting each other or nothing, but it's a whole lot of confrontation. It's like, hey, I wanted to talk to you about this thing, and I'm like, wow, you guys are like up front, and they talking to each other in front of like the other females and the other genders. Just like, wow, they are very bold here. But yeah, let me just continue on because I'm gonna get these names right. I know Makoto's he's the baseball player. I'm just trying to get the other people's names and I think they go by last name. Yeah.
まあ確かにね、気を使うっていうのは正直な感想としてあったわけで、でもまあ、それ別にゆりこちゃんが悪い。
See? Oh, okay, and I guess her name's Yuriko. But yeah. And so she was like, it made me feel a little sad that you weren't very comfortable around me. And I get it. People don't want other people to feel tense around them because, you don't give that energy, And he was saying, well, it was my fault, it wasn't your fault, it was my fault, because I couldn't lower my guard down. And that's okay, I don't know his reasons. He might tell us now, but yeah, like, it's okay to feel like, man, I just couldn't be comfortable. It's okay, Their date was intended to go to the aquarium. And so while she was having stars in her eyes about the fish and stuff, maybe he could have been like trying to talk to her a little bit because she'd be a lot more relaxed. But she wasn't very... I don't know if she was relaxed, but, she was saying she really wanted to go to the aquarium. And so she felt it seemed to imply that she was let down. And so for him, he couldn't feel at ease because she wasn't at ease, because he felt like he let her down, because he couldn't take her to the aquarium. And that makes perfect sense. But let's continue.
わけじゃなくて自分が、ゆり子ちゃんに対してこううまいことアプローチできなかったっていうのもあるから次は違う方向でちょっとアプローチしようかなとも思ってたし、
なんかそれならすごい納得今したんだけど、
まこっちゃんが言ったらダメでしょそこで。
でもうちとちゃんと話さなきゃと思ったから、男子部屋行ったらまこっちゃんがいたから。
まこっちゃんはあの状況でどう思ってたの？
Yeah, and that's something that's kind of strange for me. Makocchan, I think that's the nickname they've given him. Because Makoto, I'm just gonna say it in my accent, Makoto, he is the baseball player. But my thing is they act like they're saying that he did a wrong thing, but my impression throughout this entire series, especially in leading up to episode 7, is that everybody's been pretty open with their feelings to everybody, and that's what I was talking about. Everybody's a little bit too upfront, and they say, because I had a small issue with the tap dancing guy because he was low-key kind of telling people stuff that nobody gave him permission to tell. He was saying, well, what's going on? What do you guys think about this? It wasn't like gossipy, but it was like he was telling stuff that only the dudes was talking about. So I'm like, if that's the case, then if this just the dudes that's talking about it, why are you telling everybody? Because if it's dude talk, then it's dude talk. Leave that where the dudes are at. Don't talk to so and so and the other two girls and another dude. That's a little sketchy. But yeah, now people trying to put pressure on them. But again, no, not again. I wanted to say this because I was thinking, I seen a YouTube video about a lady who, unfortunately, she ended her life. It was due to online cyber harassment, and it's unfortunate. It's really sad because something happened. I think it would involve she was a wrestler, and this dude, it was somebody I guess she was dating. He did something to her custom made outfit, and she had a fit. Again, now when I tell you about people's levels of standards and stuff like that in Japanese culture, it's real sensitive and stuff, and if you don't I just heard the dating culture is even worse. You do something they don't like, they ghost you like that. And I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't tell you. But one thing I've noticed, she snapped off on a dude because he ruined her custom made shirt. And when she did that, the internet roasted her alive. And Japanese comments are, let's just say, they're very, very, very blunt in how they go about attacks. They say they got one called GGRKS, Guguruksu, and it's pretty much like Googling you effing moron, and it's like, wow, that's pretty harsh. And one of them is like Nante kusore, which is what a effing piece of ish. It's like, whoa. And so just think about it. If the Japanese people are very upset and their culture is very, it's kind of like over here with the anonymity. People feel brave. There's a word for it, but I can't really remember it. But they essentially get brave in anonymity. So imagine a conservative culture finally having anonymity and bravery. They go off the handle, and they did. And they did. Some of them was like, go ahead and off yourself and, stop living, and it'd be better if you stop living. I'm like, wow, the hate on these people. I'm just shocked, but they're human, they're going to say some negative stuff, and the internet is just not a natural place for people to take in specific emotions, positive or negative. It could be a whole lot of negative and lead people to depression. Whole lot of positive lead them to narcissism. So it's just either way not helpful. And so it's real sketchy about these reality TV shows. I wanted to go to watch them because these are Japanese people, just here, just live, and they say it's without script. It's a show, so take that for what you want. But they, I did it for my Japanese learning experience. But I'm low key getting like slowly into it because I'm like, it's Japanese and it's a different culture, yeah, but you still have things that are universally understood, like consideration and care and being patient and being kind and being empathic and stuff like that. Like, there are things like that, so it's like, yeah, it's like, can't get mad at them, can't get mad at people for being human. But yeah, just a little bit more.
そうだからうちに説明したいし、なんか昨日のこと謝んなきゃなって思って。
そういうことだったのね。
そうそう。ごめんなさい。
いえいえ、こちらこそ申し訳なかった。とりあえず準備してくるわ、じゃあ。
I'm surprised he. So, I'm still learning about my Japanese learning journey, but this helps, I don't know, but it's interesting. They had their talk, and now she's happy because she unloaded her frustrations. Good for them, I don't feel like offended. I don't know. If you feel like you got a problem, then you have a problem. I was just kind of surprised because he was like knocked out. She woke him up. And it's like, oh, okutai. And I think it means like, are you waking up all right? You waking up good. Yeah, she just wanted to talk to him as he was rolling out of slumber. And it's like, I get it, you're concerned, but wait a little. I'm not trying to say anything's bad. I'm just saying, like, I get it, you're frustrated. It's important that you understand and you get those frustration feelings out. But it is important to when you talk to somebody, as far as I can understand it, I'm just a mental health enthusiast. I'm not a professional or expert or anything like that. I'm just saying when you talk to somebody, it's good for them to be their optimal position so that they're not confused about how to talk or how to respond. And if you're just unloading your feelings on them while they just waking up and if they can barely process it, then it's not necessarily fair because they don't have a chance to respond because they're not fully engaged with your conversation. And you should it's just patience. It's necessary to just have a bit of patience when engaging people in regards to unloading and venting out your feelings, because your feelings are important, but it's good to consider the other person too, and hopefully that person does the same as you both are trying to engage in this conversation. And it's supposed to be important, because it involves a problem, and this problem needs solving, and you guys need to have a mutual understanding about this conversation. So I just wouldn't have gone about the approach differently. I mean, I would have gone about the approach a little differently, but yeah, I think this has been 2016 or something like that. So
でも美容師もね、ないんだよね。
あれだもんね、ご法度でなんでしょ？ご
法度というか、お客さんには手出さないし、結構労働時間長いから、普通の人と休み合わないから、だから美容師同士が多い結構。
今まで何人付き合ったの？
そんなに多く。
So she just asked, I'm gonna get these names sooner or later. I guess her name's Yuriko. I'm forgetting this dude's name, but another thing is these there's like they got these narrator type people who are responding to the actual show. It's a little strange because some of them are like low key kind of taking jabs at people, and I really think it's like due to some insecurity within them. It's a little strange to me, low key. It's like a little strange. But again, just looking at it, I'm like, because I base it off what the behavior I've seen, and I base it off their responses to that behavior. And if it's lining directly to that behavior, then it's like, okay, the behavior itself is what is the issue. But if it's like, then it's like, okay, that's a little convoluted. How'd you get to there? You know, what's with all this whole story here has to do with a whole lot more of this that has to do with you than it has to do with the person. You know, and people are very good at trying to make other situations that has something mainly to do with themselves about another person. I want to say one of those aspects is called projection, because you have issues that are internally within you, and you subconsciously project them to the other person, and then you make it about them. You know, instead, there's actually things about you that you're just putting out to other people and say that's their problem. But yeah, moving on. She just asked this dude how many boyfriends has he had, and I feel like that's kind of, I guess from my perspective, I haven't had a lot of girlfriends, but I'm like, I would ask that to somebody I'd be interested in, and he's asking both of these females out. I just found out a little strange personally, because he asked both of them out, and he knew. I guess it's this girl, her name is Yuriko, that she was looking for. She was in another date with another dude, and I get it. They're not really together, so it makes sense. But it's like, it's a little weird because they're competing for her. It seems. But yeah, actually, I might have a part two. I think I might have a part two. A little bit more.
でも数えられない4、5人とかじゃないあ、でも私も5人だよ最初は長かった一番最初に付き合った人が高校1年生の頃で4年くらい付き合って長いねその時はね、すごかった女の子のアドレスは消す驚愕事業の行間は毎回会いに行く帰りは家まで送る普通だと思ってたのに最初初めての彼女だからあ、そっかあ、これが彼女か女の子が言ってくる分その切り替えも早いのかなって思っちゃって
Oh, that's funny. So they both have roughly like five significant others that they've been with, and she thought because he's a hairstylist that he just rotate through women like that. And prior to that, they was wondering like, do they date customers? And they was like, no, because he was saying he couldn't because his schedule's just everywhere, and so he dates within the profession. But it's interesting. He was saying he only had 5, and he was with one girl for about 4 years throughout high school, and that was his first taste of what a relationship experience was. And prior to that, something along the lines, he said something like he deleted all his other girlfriends' information, but I don't know if that was before or after. It didn't make sense to be prior because this was his first relationship, but it could have been like maybe his first serious relationship. That didn't really make sense to me. I probably should be paying more attention to it.
全然違ったから、申し訳ないぐらい。なんか恋愛話面白かった。
ちょっと自分から話そうと思って外へはね聞いてばっかり。
やられた。
はい、もう遅い。
今日8時ぐらいに終わるから9時半ぐらいかな。行く？
Wow, dog. You balancing between these females. They finna date again. Okay, so I'm breaking it off. It's 30 minutes, so I'm finna break it off on this one. I'll make another another episode reaction. Sure, we're gonna call it a reaction to Terrace House of episode 7. This is I'm like a third into it, so Yeah, man, finish up.